Hi, I'm Belinda Carley, the Director of the Institute of Personal Care Science, and today I'm going to talk you through MoCRA, the modernisation of the Cosmetic Regulation Act. Now, this was put into force in 2022 and it's now becoming mandatory for all USA cosmetic brands and companies who want to export their products to the USA. It's essential that even small cosmetic brands comply with a certain number of the MoCRA requirements, and there are some exemptions. I'm going to talk you through all of these in this video. Just remember, for all of your cosmetic regulatory training, you can study with Institute of Personal Care Science and our Certificate in Cosmetic Regulatory Essentials. You'll not only learn about MoCRA, but you'll also learn about multiple other country compliance around the world. And of course, when marketing and distributing cosmetic products, you'll need to make sure you comply in the relevant region where the product's going to be sold. So first, if you're an indie brand, you're probably wondering how much of MoCRA applies to me. Well, there's quite a few things in MoCRA that you'll need to comply with even as a small or indie brand. These include compliance with labelling requirements and your marketing claims requirements. It also includes the needs to list any allergens present in any fragrances and essential oils on your cosmetic ingredient label. There is an overarching need to hold evidence to show that your cosmetic product is safe and suitable to use with the directions and method of use that you are describing for your consumer. Remember, this applies to cosmetic brands of all sizes, even if you're just starting out or meet the definition of a small cosmetic brand. Inherent in this requirement is to make sure that you hold appropriate stability data to prove the shelf life of your product and ensure it is safe and suitable for use throughout its entire shelf life. You'll also need to have a contact person for any adverse events, and you'll need to have a recall procedure in place that is documented and able to be used if there is an adverse event. And finally, of course, you'll need to make sure you comply with any inputs or regulatory limits on any ingredients used in your products to ensure that they will be safe and suitable to use by your consumers. This list of requirements is required for cosmetic brands of all sizes. So, when do exemptions apply? There are a few exemptions to the MoCRA requirements for cosmetic brands that meet the definition of a small cosmetic brand, which means an annual turnover averaged from the last 3 years of less than US $1 million. Now, if you qualify for these small brand exemptions, just remember this doesn't get you out of the previous list of requirements that I've just talked you through. If you do meet these exemptions, you will not have to register your cosmetic facility, you will not have to list the cosmetic product, and you do not have to show good manufacturing practice compliance. That's the only 3 exemptions that you get as a small cosmetic brand. Now, there's a very big if as well with a small cosmetic brand. Even if you qualify as a small cosmetic brand because of your annual turnover, you are not exempt if you are manufacturing or processing products intended for use around the mucous membrane of the eye, or if you manufacture or process any products for internal or injectable use. This includes products that may be ingested. Another clause where even if you were a small brand because of your annual turnover, where you do not qualify for an exemption, is if you are marketing products that are intended for application to the skin that will cause a permanent change beyond 24 hours or are to remain on the skin indefinitely. It is important to point out here that some cosmetic products that might be considered cosmetics in other regions of the world may actually be considered drugs in the USA. And of course, if they're a drug in the USA, they're subject to different compliance requirements. So make sure you fully understand the definitions of what is a cosmetic in the USA and when these MoCRA regulations will apply. All cosmetic brands, regardless of size, must have evidence to substantiate the safety of their product when used as directed. Now, you'll need to make sure that you compile appropriate evidence to demonstrate to the regulators how you have determined the safety of the product. And this is done through searching the required sites and tabulating and compiling all required evidence, not just from one source, but from multiple sources. And of course, this is something that the regulators are really heavily emphasizing with all cosmetic products released into the USA, regardless of the company size. You will need to learn the sources that you can use and also how to compile this safety information to prove that your cosmetic products are safe and suitable to use. That evidence should also be used to help you establish suitable directions for use so that your consumers are using the cosmetic product safely and appropriately. Quality and stability testing is essential for cosmetic brands of all sizes. This is another stipulation that you are not exempt from, even if your cosmetic brand would normally meet the definition of a small cosmetic brand because of its annual turnover. This means you must conduct quality and stability testing to prove the safety and suitability of your cosmetic product over its entire shelf life. Now, don't panic, this is not hard, and this is something you can conduct in-house, but it does need to meet the requirements of the regulators so that they can see you have properly proven and substantiated the quality and stability and shelf life of your cosmetic product, which further supports its safety throughout its entire use. All adverse events must be documented and, where they are serious, reported to the FDA. Now, there are some very specific rules and guidelines that you must follow as part of that reporting process, as well as rules that you must follow to be able to determine if a serious adverse event has occurred. Again, don't panic. We have templates and procedures that you can use to make this easy for your organization to comply with. We also provide detailed information on each of the steps of reporting, so you know what to report, what information to compile, and who to contact should there be an adverse event with your cosmetic product. But remember, if you've conducted your safety and quality and stability properly, then you are very unlikely to have an adverse event. Your cosmetic brand also, regardless of size, will need to have recall procedures in place which can be demonstrated to the regulator should an adverse event occur. Now, if you are a cosmetic brand that exceeds that US $1 million turnover, you are then subject to some additional requirements. You'll need to demonstrate compliance with good manufacturing practice, which again, you can learn with the Institute of Personal Care Science. You'll also need to register your product facility, and you'll also need to make sure that any products you process or manufacture will be listed with the FDA as well. The FDA will require you to compile certain information about the processing and manufacturing procedures and plant, as well as the types of products they produce. And then companies will need to list their product with the FDA relative to each cosmetic manufacturer. Again, these steps aren't difficult. It's all about knowing the steps, the procedures, and where you'll need to register the information, as well as what information you need to compile to be fully compliant. Well, there are the new FDA MoCRA regulations in a nutshell. But of course, there's so much more to it than that. And we've broken this down into easy steps for you to learn so that you can be MoCRA compliant. Make sure you contact the Institute of Personal Care Science today for more information on our certificate in cosmetic regulatory essentials, or please look in the information box below for a link to our certificate in cosmetic regulatory essentials. All training is 100% online, so you can study at a time and place that suits you. You can also get tutorial assistance with our trainers who are there to help you every step of the way. Make sure you get your certificate in cosmetic regulatory essentials and meet all MoCRA compliance requirements. It's not hard, it's just a step in the right direction to make sure all cosmetic products have a certain standard and are safe, suitable, and fantastic for consumers to enjoy. Happy formulating!